When I first visited the fabled heart of Bigfoot Country in Northern California a few years ago, it was quite the journey.
Holy
Dude, I heard something moving up there. Rocks came sliding down. He wasn't scared anymore. But who did the whoop just now?
Yeah, no one.
You didn't hear a whoop? He wasn't scared anymore. He wasn't scared anymore. In the summer of 2024, I returned once again to this incredible place for the better part of a week in order to explore and investigate the undying mystery that continues to unfold here. The journey begins in Oregon, where my friend Jonathan Easley picked me up. Jonathan was featured in my previous Bluff Creek film, and is somebody I've come to value in this subject greatly. His YouTube channel, Western Bigfoot Exploration, is top-notch, and he produces some of the best and most level-headed documentaries and videos about the Sasquatch topic. Jonathan has been going to Bluff Creek annually for quite a few years now, and in the time since I first visited in 2021, has had a few interesting things happen there, but we'll get into that later.
We're on the Go Road, headed up into Bigfoot Country.
This is the birthplace of Bigfoot. It's where Ray Wallace faked those tracks. Arriving late that night, we met up with a number of friends also visiting Bluff Creek. This included members of the Bluff Creek Project and other Bigfoot enthusiasts.
Finally here. Yeah, it feels awesome to be back. Feels great.
It's a good area.
I think about this place all year. So when you finally get here, it's like Disneyland, Bigfoot Disneyland again.
Among the crew present at Bluff Creek was Damon Irons, who had previously joined me last summer during our expedition to Area A in Alaska for the Dark Coast documentary series. Right after we arrived, Damon was already getting ready to launch his thermal drone up over the area we were in order to survey for wildlife.
First video. There we go. Nice. Let's see which car came in last.
Oh, what's that over there?
Still hot. Okay.
So,
that's my
Damon
rig. That's my rig, right?
Once again.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was just like going, what are these guys?
What
That's
are those
new.
things down there? Yeah.
That is new.
Yeah, go on top of it. Yeah, let's get a direct down view of that. Yeah, go ahead and stay in that. Yeah, just go directly. So that's probably 20 feet below us.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like what I'm talking about is, since we're leaving all this heat from us walking around, or that could be just heat from the ground rising up, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess that's what everything else is then, right? But that's intensely hotter.
Oh yeah, look at right here. That's right on the side of your truck.
Yeah, it is. I'm back away from that edge. Not that way. This way.
I think you're okay. Now you're into a tree.
What's that over there?
There's a couple things there.
That's probably those.
Yeah, I'm backing up a little bit. Better angle.
There you go.
Here we go.
Go back to your orange. Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll do
Yeah,
it.
those might be
When it gets
small
hot enough for a body, you'll see it.
Yeah.
It'll pop out.
I'm used to looking on the screen there on the controller.
You want to go that route that you did several years ago?
Oh, when you guys went, when
you followed us out
Sure.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
It'll drop down, and then there'll be a road off to the right, kicks up. Take a picture of that. Yeah, keep yourself oriented. I don't see where that road is. I think past it by now. I would think.
Yeah, we're pretty far away.
Yeah, it's not that far down. That's taken down to the ridge, or going down to Louse. They'll wrap around down there. Yeah, just come back on that road. We'll find it. Because there's an opening up top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's come straight back.
There you go.
Pretty.
So we're here at Bluff Creek, first morning out, but we're gonna be here for the rest of the week doing some exploring, research in certain areas, kind of picking up where we left off. Obviously for me, it's been since 2021 that I've been here. It's now 2024. We're gonna have a whole crew out here. We're just gonna be doing a bunch of stuff over the course of these next 4 to 5 days. So I'm super excited to be back. Beautiful area. We've got a whole camp set up now with a bunch of the Bluff Creek Project guys, people like Kip. We've also got Robert Leiterman, Rowdy Kelly, people that were interviewed in that first Bluff Creek video those few years ago. We've also got Damon here. We were doing some thermal drone stuff with him last night. I'm just excited to see how different it is, how it's changed. There's been a lot of activity and stuff that's happened over the past couple of years since I've been here. So we're gonna touch in with all the researchers and everybody and investigators that have been out here that have been collecting some of the stories over the last few years. So Damon, man, you have been out here now a couple of days, or 3 or 4 days?
Yeah, I got here Friday, actually. No, I take it back. Thursday night.
Thursday
Thursday
night,
yeah.
You were playing some stuff for us. You guys have been hearing some interesting.
It's been a
festival
really
stuff.
interesting couple of days. So it's been fun to it's been hot. So we've been instead of sweltering in camp, we've been, running around and checking out Laird Meadow and seeing the fire damage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's been nice to see that it's not as badly damaged as I thought it was going to be. I was expecting just devastation up here, and it hasn't been. It's been real nice. As you can see, there's some burn over here and down on the left side on that side over there. But for the most part, all the important places are still intact, and it's looking good. It's recovering nicely. It's very lush. It's been great. But we've had a weird phenomenon, which we have here at the cell site. Have had some activity, but every night we've had crazy knocks, some audio sounds, like every night, just coming up middle of the day, like about 6 o'clock the other day. We're just sitting over there by Kip's camper, and baseball bat to the tree about 50 yards away. I mean, it was massive. So they've been coming in all night, sometimes late, like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. You start hearing a lot of wood knocks, different kinds of wood knocks. I identified about 4 different kinds, and including a rocklack, just one of these things, multiple times in one night.
You haven't seen anything on the thermal drone, right?
No, the therm has been quiet.
Any creatures or anything?
Just some mice, owls.
Yeah.
Things like that. But as far as larger mammals, like deer and things like that, no, haven't seen any of that yet. But the evidence that they're here, I mean, laird was covered in deer tracks and fresh stuff. Same thing with the meadow in the spring we checked out down the Go Road yesterday. So they're here. I just haven't seen one yet.
Yeah.
But
you guys are going to keep trying tonight?
Yeah, tonight, Terry Lindsay and I are going to go over to Twin Lakes, and we're going to do some stupid human tricks and hang out and
see what happens.
Have some fire and see what happens over there. Historically, has been a pretty active place as well. Maybe not with the Sasquatches sometimes. Sometimes it's the barred owls are just kind of fighting each other across the lake and stuff. So it's going to be cool either way, and we'll see what's going to happen with that. But it's been very, very interesting time.
As Damon mentioned, there is some notable fire damage in the area. Last summer, there was a very large forest fire in this part of the Six Rivers National Forest. There were previously devastated areas destroyed by wildfires here at Bluff Creek, such as this section on the Go Road. But all the damage closer to the Patterson Gilman film site and louse camp was from last year.
So where are we headed right now, man?
Headed down to louse camp. Down an old louse camp.
Oh yeah. Crazy to see the difference of everything. Look at the devastation, all the burning that's gone on. I mean, last year louse camp was almost lost, right? With the fires?
Yeah, it came pretty close, as you can see. But it was an area that was chosen to be protected. So the Forest Service protected it when the fires were rolling through, thank God.
Thankfully, yeah. Crazy. It's just amazing the amount of devastation here. Wow, man, look at this devastation.
That Kip got a flat.
Yeah.
Luckily, as we neared louse camp itself, much of the forest was still intact and green, thanks to the wildfire fighting efforts.
We are now at the ledge close to where we had the strange, mysterious rock slide happen. It was right around here. Yeah, it was right here. Yep.
Holy
Dude, I heard something moving up there. Rocks came sliding down. Right up there. That's where it came from, that little clearing in the trees. Yep. Wow, I'll never forget it. Yeah, because the rocks came tumbling down here to the left. I was standing here. I ran that way. Tate and Eli ran the other way, that way. So, wow. Well, it was a strange incident. And that almost puts us basically right into louse camp.
Weird stuff happened in here.
Yep. It's been forever, man.
Oh dear.
Gotta love louse camp.
Well, you want to camp straight ahead or to the right?
I don't care. Made it back to louse camp. First time since 2021. It's changed a little bit. Tables and stuff like that have been rearranged, but looks pretty cool. Looks like we may have the whole place to ourselves with a couple of folks that know us and know of our work. Fire pit's in the same place, I guess, yeah.
Left us a little firewood too, which we didn't consider.
Path back down to the beautiful water at louse camp. Oh man, this is the place to be. Got it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Woo! Woo! That's nice. Oh.
We then set up shop and would use Louse Camp as a base for the remainder of the week, using it to visit various locations around Bluff Creek. Joining us here at Louse Camp would be our friend Glenn.
So Glenn, man, how many years you been coming up to Bluff Creek, bro?
Bluff Creek in particular, it's been about, I want to say 6 or 7 years. And between that time, maybe a year or two where I've missed, here and there. But yeah, I've kind of made it a ritual to come yearly. And here we are again this year. So I'm really excited. And originally I moved into Humboldt County a little more than 10 years ago, and we had recently moved out about 2 or 3 years ago and moved to Southern Oregon. But being here in Humboldt, actually, we learned that there's 3 counties in this area, and we're probably technically in Del Norte at the moment. But yeah, Humboldt County kind of opened my eyes to the whole Bigfoot thing. I learned about the Patterson film as a youth, and but when I moved into the county, I learned that this had happened up here, and that really got my interest. And through some connections and people guiding me to certain people like Bobo, yeah, I got invited here. And being in amongst these hills and these trees and just the environment, you got the creek, I'm sure you could hear flowing by. There's an amazing swimming hole at this particular camp. It's like Northern California has all these special little areas, and this is one here in particular. And of course, you got the history of the Native Americans up here, which is very, very, I think, important for us to learn as much as possible, as well as the Sasquatch history here, which is, yeah, just kind of mind-blowing to me to be here and to know that all this happened here, and here we are now.
Alright, so a few of us are taking off now from Louse Camp. We're going to do a little night walk on some of the roads here. Long history of activity here. Very close to where we had stuff happen in 2021. The Whoop, weird stuff with dog named Bandit. Just there's been other sightings up here. So we're just going to kind of patrol the area, walk the roads a little bit. Jonathan, let me see that. Turn around. Turn around. Other way. Okay, so he's got audio rolling, back of his head. What a nerd.
Brand new DR40.
Just kidding. We're just making our way back to camp, and it sounded like you guys heard somebody running behind us. It's kind of weird. See anything, Jonathan?
No, just a bunch of hot rocks. Stop and identify.
Okay. We're heading back to camp now. We spent a few hours out checking some stuff out. Didn't really hear much. Very quiet. Incredible Milky Way view out here. Absolutely insane. I wish I could show how that looked, but it's just totally crazy.
It's like a few days ago, I just came out to do my usual swim. You guys were doing the same thing, going out for swimming. And I parked up there and I wanted to get a quick swim in. So I remember walking down here, and I got to about right here, and you hear like a splash coming down. And I kuplunk. And so you think about were they fish that were just swimming around, but the fish, you guys see how big the fish are in there. They're like little guys. But something sounded like it hit the surface of the water. We have branches breaking down, so I didn't think much of it, right? You hear the kaplunk, you kind of look, you don't say anything. Keep walking down, I just go down there and do my 15, 20 minutes swim in the water. Come back out, no big deal. put my other stuff away. Think nothing of it, right? Well, welcome to Louse Camp. Business as usual. And then we were over at our cell campsite, and Rowdy had put some messages up, and I was just sitting there going through it. And Rowdy has this one where he says, like, he starts talking about, like, oh yeah, he was down here and he talked to an Indian family that was here, and they talked about the kids were swimming in this part of the creek, and that something was throwing rocks down at them from the top. And that was about 2 weeks ago. So when you start looking at that, you kind of look at this, it kind of puts it all together. It's just another one of those mysteries of the Bluff Creek area, if you would say that. So all these things that kind of take place. So it's kind of cool. So I thought I would share with you guys. It's kind of another little story. Do I think it was Bigfoot? I have no idea. I just know that it was unusual. And then it coincides with another report of other people saying something was throwing rocks down at them. But if you look at the hillside here, it's just a big plateau area. It's forested. And it drops down, and this section of the Bluff Creek goes around it and cuts around the backside. So from the top of this bridge area, anywhere up here, you can see the whole camp activity. And you can look down this nice little swim hole.
Have you ever heard of anything like that happening prior to those native kids?
Not off the top of my head, no. Doesn't mean it hasn't happened other places. But we talked about, I also shared with you this morning about sounds. So you have this almost like 270 degrees, maybe even more. You're surrounded by water. You have Notice Creek puts in just over here at the bridge. They put in 1958. Something else weird happened in 1958, but we don't want to talk about it. It's all Bigfoot stuff. But Jerry Crew probably doesn't mind. But anyhow, so Notice Creek puts in just right over here, not too far down, and into the basically Bluff Creek. And so you have water coming down this way. You have all of this here. And then it curves just down there about 200 yards and kicks out and starts heading on the back of this and then heading pretty much towards the Klamath River. So that leaves just this area with no creek. So the sounds bounce off this surface area. So you always get stories of people hearing conversations, different things here. And the water is nice. It puts you to sleep pretty nice. And you always think you're being watched here too, because you kind of are, like in a bowl. Kind of cool. But even last night I heard something that sounded to me more like the standard conversations and stuff, but I don't know what to say.
How about I throw a couple rocks in the water?
Yeah.
Tell me if it sounds like anything you might have heard.
Let me move over here a little bit. Do you want me to say where I kind of heard it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wherever you were when you heard it.
Oh, right here.
I'll chuck a couple and you tell me if it matters.
All right. I'll bet you like I'm walking.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Go ahead. It's water.
I'll try another one.
All right.
One more.
I like number 2 better.
Number 2?
Choice between 1 and 3, I'll go with 3.
Flatter rock.
Yeah. Anyways.
Number 2 didn't have such big of a splash.
Yeah, it was a
noise.
It was a flatter rock, so I don't think it kerplunked as much.
Yeah.
So
I'd say more like number 2, the second one you toss.
well, it's interesting.
And you said it was a flatter rock?
Yeah, it was a very flat, like
Kind of like what you see all over the place here, pretty much.
like this, but
Yeah.
a larger,
Yeah.
much larger.
Kind of like the slate type stuff.
Yeah, it's nice skipping rocks.
Yeah.
Well, interesting.
Yeah.
So we're heading to the Patterson Gimlin film site. Been a few years since I've been here. Well, last year was threatened by fires quite a bit, so I don't know if we could say we almost lost it, but I mean the whole area was threatened.
They did a little prescribed burn right up in the top of the ridge here that might have saved it. Like Kip was telling us that, you know, this is one of the areas that they wanted to specifically save, so
Yeah.
it was saved.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Last time we hiked down here with a whole big crew. We stayed the night at the Patterson site. It's So it'd be kind of cool to see how it's changed in the few years since I've been up here. Is it any different? What's kind of been going on? And we're gonna check the cameras with Rowdy, maybe see some more critters, see what else has been captured on there. There's been a lot of traffic apparently the last few weeks, even people coming up here to see the film site from all over the place. So I'm sure we'll see a lot of groups of people on the cameras.
It's going to be interesting to see what the fire devastation did to the wildlife walking around.
Yeah.
This slide is what initiated the decommission of this road all the way down, which you used to be able to take down to the bat boxes. So apparently a guy was coming down in his Jeep and this had a slide happen and he tried to go over it and apparently almost slid off the edge. So that, I think, initiated why this was shut down. Anyway, in 2011, this was more of a higher rock mount right here. You had to climb up and over. I was under the assumption that during the Finding Bigfoot episode, we were going to have the horses ride all the way down to the creek. So I spent a whole day making this trail good, and one of those things was creating a trail through there for horses. So it took most of my effort to move all these rocks and get them all up, and actually you don't push them all over, you try to push them up to create a wall so it catches more. So anyway, it's maintained itself fairly well, but yeah, this is the initial cause of why you can't drive down there anymore.
Sorry, I'm gonna make you repeat that because I wasn't filming.
Wait, you want to wait till we get to it? It's like right there, I think. Right here, let's see.
So what are we looking for?
So there's an opening to the left where I think Glenn found it last time. And we walked up a little bit and there was like a mountain lion kill. There was a lot of bones. Here it is.
Oh, cool.
Set my camera down.
You want to just...
I heard something there. So you're walking past this trail. You'd walk past it any other day, but if you come in here, you come check this out.
Yeah. See if we can find anything.
So I have some hair in an envelope that looks a bit strange, and I pulled it off of
that branch
right here. It was this high up.
Right.
So I mean, when I walked through.
This was last year, right?
This is last year, yeah. I still have it in an envelope, but it's about, you know, the height of my head if I walk through here. And then right here, look at, you're still here.
Bones are still here, wow. Yeah, look at that.
There's this mountain lion kill of some sort.
Yeah, elk or deer. Yeah, you got tons of bones.
Check out the vertebrae. You can still see a bit of the matter, the intervertebral discs on this. And you can see cuts from the teeth marks and all that.
Yeah.
But check out that.
Yeah, this is the clavicle right here.
Yeah.
Is it actually?
I don't know. Scalpel or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you can see.
Sort of scapular bone. It has a
human,
tabulum.
it's a human bone.
Looks like a deer femur.
No, it's human. It's human.
Yeah, of course.
For the narrative.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
More views. Now here's a trochlear. This is its knee, I guess, like a trochlear joiners acetabulum that goes into the femur.
That's the artery, right? That's the femoral artery?
The femoral artery actually runs in the bone.
But isn't that where the...
This is the
hole? No? What is that?
It's a foramen of some sort, I think. I mean, it is, but you got other ones. I don't know what artery runs down on a deer there.
Yeah, well, you can just see all the bones right in there, too.
Check out the spine.
That's, yeah, does it flex a little bit or no?
A little bit. It's like starting to break.
Breaking,
it's like got that rigor mortis to this, but this is still pretty intact, you know? And
fascinating. There's more here, yeah, right under. Could be a mountain lion kill.
I only followed this up a little bit of ways, and then it gets just way too thick where you can't move anymore. But this is what we found last time, and that's where I pulled that hair. So.
Yep. This is where I tripped last time. Right in there. Almost tumbled down the hill. Whoa, Alex, you good?
Oh yeah.
All right, well, we're back. Patterson Gilman film site. Oh, the trail rather. Well, we're here, back at the Patterson Gimlin film site. There's where Patty walked, right in there. So you can see they've constructed a little cairn, and this is a little platform. Don't know how stable this is. I guess this is where Roger was standing when he filmed it. She would have been going through that way. He was here, and I guess on this cliff they've had to create that platform where Roger once stood and filmed. So right now I am right behind where the Patterson film was taken. So Patty was right where you can kind of see some people over there. I'm showing this area because this is the area that's directly behind the film. And last year, 2023, there were forest fires all around here, and as you can see, they almost came down here to the film site. So yeah, you can see all this charring and just how close it is to the film site. Could have came close to losing it and it all being completely burned up and looking like a dead landscape, but I guess it seems like the fire came down in this one vein. Up there it's not as affected. It just seems like it was here, and even to the sides there's not much damage, so I don't know how it flowed down, but looks like it made it all the way down to here.
It's a slowed down version.
There it is. Right there. There we're looking, right there.
Right over Ian's right shoulder.
Alright, well, where I'm sitting now is where Patty walked off in the Patterson Gimlin film. It's a part that I find personally really interesting. It's not talked about a lot. Everyone focuses on famous frames towards the beginning of the film where she's doing the iconic walk and going past the area that's behind camera now. But this is the direct path where she would have gone, kind of between these stumps right here and then up the hill. Allegedly, Bob Titmus had found evidence that something had walked from up here up the hill and had kind of sat at a tree, and there was almost like a kind of a butt print and some feet marks as if something was watching, perhaps while Roger and Bob were down here looking at the site after what they had just witnessed. But that footage of her walking away I find really interesting, and I don't know if I'll be able to share it in here because of copyright reasons. If I find a way to do it, I will absolutely show it. If not, there are ways to view it online, but it shows her walking off and how wide the subject looks, which I always found really interesting, and almost what looks like a razorback that you get on animals, or like heckles raised in primates where the hair is kind of standing up. That's what it almost looks like as she walks away, as Roger is filming pretty much from right behind the camera directly in this line of sight heading this way. I always found that piece of the footage under-evaluated and rarely examined, perhaps, even compared to just the rest of the footage, the earlier parts. So this being my second time here, that's something I'm thinking about a lot, is that last part of the footage that just not a lot of people see or seem to know as much, and where she walked off. And every time I'm here, it's just kind of it just shows you how interesting and how long. I mean, it's 2024 now, and we're still talking about this footage. I don't think it's ever going to be proved or disproved at this point. I don't know. Maybe it will go one way or the other. I don't know. But either way, it's so embedded, and it's just so controversial and so notable and well known that it's brought us out here. A lot of the people here. Camera review time.
That looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Post that to Facebook and watch people go nuts.
We had one bear one year. He had the biggest paws compared to other bears.
Wow.
And he was totally like, okay, that's why people.
There he goes.
That's why people.
There you go.
Whoa. There he
He's a
goes.
young, tall bear. He's pretty.
Some hominids captured.
Bunch of hominids. paws.
That looks like CGI.
Look at the size.
Yeah, wow.
Isn't that funny how it does?
Yeah, that one specifically. I don't know why, but like, look at the shadow. Why does it look so fake here?
Look at the size of the paws. Small.
Yeah, normal sized.
Normal. And a pretty big bear.
I'll leave a couple Sasquatch stickers in here. Anyone wants them? There's 2 in here. A little sign-in bottle. Patterson site. There you go. They're in there. A couple Western Bigfoot exploration stickers as well. So find them.
After our visit to the PGF site, we headed back up to the cell site camp in order to hang with much of the crew that was posted there. Among that crew was Ian Carton.
What's got me here as often as I can is we've only really solved part of the mystery. We've done the historical part. I'm confident that we know where the Patterson film site is. We know it was filmed there. So that's been done. But there's a lot more to go. At the very least, we're raising awareness. More people are visiting. Just last week, we were at Bigfoot Days in Willow Creek, and at least 3 groups of people came out here to the film site afterwards, I think directly because of meeting us there at Bigfoot Days. So that's raising awareness. So far, the Forest Service has been very supportive of having people come out here, and they're seeing with their own eyes.
Do you have a personal favorite story associated with Bluff Creek, a Bigfoot sighting, or a story that isn't Patterson? Anything that kind of sticks out in your mind, just that it piques your interest, or that you maybe know somebody who's had something happen?
Well, and not really about Bigfoot directly, but just about the experience of coming out here and making friends and just experiencing this area. And it's the biggest thing that I've left with is realizing that a creature could stay hidden out here easily. This area is inaccessible for 6 months of the year, and it's unforgiving some of the other 6 months of the year. So there's no question in my mind that we're in the right place. Our actual group trips have been very quiet in general, and I remember we were out here, and the Forest Service had been working on the roads earlier that summer, and it was now October, and basically the road had turned into a mud mudslide with the first rains, and we were down at the bottom of the 12N13H, and we were wondering if we were going to get back up. Know the weather when you're coming out here. If you can, stop at the ranger station and get the local maps and any information about events going on, like fires in the area. And remember that the season is pretty short to get out here. Basically, July and August to be safe. Other than that, make sure you have a good spare tire. Get a dash cam for your car. Make sure it's wired in so it's not accidentally disconnected. So always be running it. Come out, enjoy the outdoors wherever you live. If you can, come see the Patterson film site here in Northern California.
Another really cool thing I have on this trip, I just got it from Robert the other day, Robert Leiterman, is his book, Bluff Creek Project. So this is all about the journey of rediscovering the film site. Extremely detailed. They've got pictures, lots of stuff. I mean, you can see. So here's something with a bunch of people, Bobo, other folks, and just a really cool recap of the whole discovery, and it's a very detailed book. Really happy to be checking this out. Again, that's Robert Leiterman's book, Patterson Gimlin Film Site Journey of Rediscovery. So it documents the Bluff Creek Project and their efforts to find the film site, which we were at on our last trip as well as on this trip. And I highly recommend this. I know a lot of people email me and message me asking about book recommendations, and I've talked about some books in certain Beyond the Trail videos before. This is definitely one. If you're interested in the Patterson Gimlin Film Site, you want to come out here, this is probably one you should pick up. They're on Amazon. That's probably the best place I think to pick them up is on Amazon, but message Robert Leiterman about that. Yeah, we got to hang out with Robert on this trip, which was awesome. He's always a great resource and just an awesome dude. So it's a very well crafted book, a lot of good info, and highly recommended. All stuff about the film site.
Right over to Beans Camp to talk to Todd and Doug. Apparently, Todd had maybe a rock thrown at him last night he was talking about.
And you're just cooking breakfast?
No, I was drinking coffee.
I see.
And then I took the shovel down there, looked around. This is the only rock I found, so I assume it was it.
Must have made a big thud.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
So you heard it crashing through? It hit some limbs, or?
No, well, it may have, but I looked over there because I saw something in the corner of my eye, and it hit the very back of that tree and ricocheted. So it had to come from over there because it hit the back of the tree and went that way.
And that's the rock, you think?
It's the only rock that was over there.
Interesting. Wow.
And then
it kind of caught you off guard, or?
Yeah, because usually, well, I wasn't expecting anything in the morning because last night I was here all by myself. I was a little spooked just because I was by myself.
Yeah, you're heightened.
And but nothing happened. And then last night we had a deer show up about 1 o'clock in the morning.
Where did they come through?
The deer came right up from there. And it just hung out and ate chips and apples and.
Nice.
And then about 20 minutes after the rock, straight through, actually you can see right through there. That's where I heard the 5 knocks. And usually, well, I've never heard 5 knocks in a row. And it was like boom, 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 boom. And then you hear 3 other knocks, like he was walking away. You hear boom, boom, boom. Each the other 3 knocks got like farther away, and then that was it. And I was surprised because I don't think I've ever had experiences first thing in the morning. It's usually in the evening or at night. Here,
I always wake up. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
We came here, me, Doug, Carrie, who you met yesterday, and his son, Paul. We were up here on a day trip, and we pull up here. And this was probably, it was probably like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning because Carrie had to go bathroom, so we came here so he could go bathroom. And we hear like 3 knocks. 3 or 4 knocks, not simultaneously, but, spread out a few seconds, 10 seconds, and then another deer, a bigger one, maybe this one we had last night, its mom, came up, and I was feeding it Ruffle cheddar cheese chips right from my hand.
Wow.
And then we figured maybe the squatches chased it out of the bushes, and
you guys
and then we
here
left. We were leaving in my truck, and the deer wouldn't leave. She was just standing there.
She wanted more.
And well, usually, because my truck's loud, start that sucker up, the deer would run off. But it stood here while we backed out and left. And
well, it's a cool looking area. I mean,
oh, it is. This is a
neat once in a
area.
while, not all the time.
Which direction? That's the tree it hit, right? This big one right here?
Yeah, behind it, and it fell behind that log.
So you found it right in there?
Yeah, behind it. On that,
wow.
So it had to
so presumably it came from somewhere down there.
Ricocheted this way.
2015 or something.
Interesting. I'm going to look over here, see if I see anything.
I looked up on the back of the tree, and there's a couple little marks.
Yeah, I mean,
but,
you see something like that, I mean,
yeah.
You don't know where it would have hit, right? It's like, who the heck knows?
Yeah, it was maybe a little higher, and it just threw the rock.
So that's where the knocking was on that hill, huh?
Yeah.
just trying to zoom in on it now. Can't really see it here, but yeah, there's the ground. So yeah, that's where the hill is, right there on that side. So I imagine for a Sasquatch, that's probably not that much of a throw from there.
Yeah, I mean, he may not have been trying to hit this tree. Maybe just to throw it over here.
How loud of an impact was it?
Oh, it was pretty loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. It startled me. I was like, whoa, wow. And it was like, bam, and just.
Wow. There's another little campsite right in there.
Yeah, and then down below there's a pond, another campsite.
Beautiful area.
And then the road keeps going. You can't really drive it. We've hiked all the way down.
And where does that road lead to?
Down to, what's that creek? I think it's Beans Creek.
Oh, so it doesn't really go anywhere, it just goes to the creek?
Well, it was an old logging road.
Yeah.
We've gone down probably a mile and a half, and we just like, it was just getting more and more condensed. We said, oh, let's just go back.
Jonathan, Glenn, and I are back in this campsite that Todd and Doug were at, and they claimed that they had a rock thrown at them or near them this morning, right?
Correct. It came from below here up into the tree while Doug was drinking coffee, supposedly.
Yeah, we interviewed him about that earlier, so we're gonna poke around a little bit. Got some thermals, just kind of see if there's anything going on. It's extremely quiet out here.
Very quiet.
Deathly quiet. No bugs, no birds, nothing. So
all you can hear is like the slightest of a tiny trickle of a stream, and
that's it. It's very quiet.
It's so quiet out here. Unbelievable how quiet it is. Looks like it keeps going here, but it's crazy quiet. It's unmaintained. Unmaintained or maintained? Unmaintained. It's a lot like that trail right there. Crazy quiet. Yeah. You can hear every little twig snap and every noise of the forest right now. Yeah.
It's about 5 a.m. Lights coming out. We're gonna probably call it a night or a morning, I guess. Nothing much. Been walking the roads very quietly, scanning with thermals. It's just deathly silent out here. What did you just hear, dude?
Just a big crack over there, like a big giant branch snap. Big giant branch snap.
They just keep that rolling, and it's gonna die. I don't see anything. Yeah, I mean, I was focusing on my camera.
You did.
So is this around where you heard it from?
Yeah, in this kind of area here, maybe where the darker trees start right there. It was just a loud noise.
Yeah. Figured it was worth coming over to investigate. A lot of bees. 5:30 a.m. Don't know why there's so many bees.
You want me to stop or?
Yeah, I'll probably stop.
It's just a loud noise, like.
Could be anything. We're also getting point of deliriousness, but I don't think you imagine that. You definitely heard something.
Just a loud crack.
And Glenn didn't hear it at all.
Deer. There's a lot of like all this stuff is burnt up, so I imagine that, you know, maybe with the temperature change of the sun starting to come up.
Would make sense. Still scanning with the therm. I don't see nothing. Yep. Well, are you? Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Well, let's get some rest.
Hey, look how far we walked. I didn't realize that.
What are you making for us, Glenn?
We're gonna try and do some chilaquiles.
Yeah.
So it's tortilla, some eggs, and we'll probably add some cheese to that. And then we fried some plantains on the side already. Got some beans, black beans going, and then we're gonna try and incorporate the potatoes somehow.
Oh,
so
this is eating in the wilderness, man.
5-star meals on the hill.
Gotta love it. Look at that.
Separate these guys as much as possible. I don't know, but I know Aleks has had some before. Hopefully these match up to what he's had. So
There's our final product. Amazing. Eating.
Headed over to Laird Meadow to show you where a couple things that have gone on over the past couple years since you haven't been here, including a hair sample found, and me and Glenn will talk about how we heard this roar come off this mountain.
Sweet. So we're here at Laird Meadow. I mean, this area has a lot of Bigfoot history, right? This is where Roger Patterson allegedly pulled some casts out of. Other people have had stuff happen here.
Yeah, all those guys in the 1960s and 70s would come up here to Laird Meadow and try to find evidence as well, and they certainly did. Roger Patterson in '63, I believe, pulled a nice 18-inch cast from here off a trackway that he was shown. That individual is actually believed to be the same individual that Jerry Crew pulled a cast on. So if you look at the anatomical details that are in the footprint, you can find a lot of similarities, including the size and width. But yeah, this place has a lot of history, and you know, coming up here, I guess we kind of kept it going because we've had a few very interesting things happen here too.
Yeah, we had our incident here in 2021 where we were in different teams. I was in a different team. You were posted on one side of the meadow, and we heard what sounded like something being thrown, that weird champagne pop noise. As well as the rock throws that happened, the falling rock noises that we thought were the third team up on the road, and they said it wasn't them.
Mm-hmm. Including distant knocks, a series of maybe 5 or 6. To me, the craziest part of that whole thing was when Eli and I were kind of posted in the trees in a bush, and it was right here on the road. We were just off the road in the meadow over there, and something was here on the road. So I don't know, 20, 30 yards. I heard a knock so loud that I even say that I can hear the bark split. I could hear the texture of the bark, and I mean, that was certainly mysterious.
Weird. All right, well,
weird.
Let's go in there and show us where some of the new stuff has happened. You guys had some stuff happen here past couple of years too.
Yeah, so I know that Ron was in here looking at trees and all that, and he was the one that found some hair. And as everyone else started kind of finding more hair and pulling samples, Damon Irons reached up, grabs a hair off the 8 to 9 foot level, and it was just this weird, awkward looking hair about that long and black. Although if you look at it in the sun, there's a little bit of tinge to it. That hair ended up fitting the Dr. Henry Fehrenbach gold standard of our definition of what a Sasquatch hair is. So that was neat. He took it down to the NABC and got it looked at by Nico, and then Cliff came down, and they both were really excited about it.
Well, let's see if we can find anything else like that.
All right.
Check it out. We're in the meadow. We're in Laird Meadow.
Let me see.
Where were we posted up last time?
Over there on the opposite side.
Yeah, this is where Eli, when we were. You should show this, the proximity of this part to the road. Because we heard it on the road and the road's right there. It's so close.
So this is where Tate and I were posted up when we heard whatever sounded like something being thrown or popped behind us. And Jonathan and Eli were right in that little grove of trees right there. What a beautiful little meadow. Plenty of deer tracks here. You know there's wildlife. Yeah, this is where we were. In here. Pretty sure I was sitting on one of these trees or branches. I don't know if it's still here, but whatever we heard sounded like it was coming from behind us.
To build up a water accumulation there.
So we got, looks like a deer trail. Something sitting right there. Got another one right next to it. Kind of move this way. Plenty of it. Maybe they're jumping around. So they must be here just drinking. That's what they're after, is this. Well, you got these little choke points that lead into other meadows. Some hair, look at that. Alright, I think that's hair, I can't tell. Oh yeah, that's definitely hair, look at that.
Let me see.
There it is, yep. You see what I'm talking about?
Not yet.
Alright, so we just found some hair samples. Went back to the vehicle to get my DNA collection kit just so we can grab those hair samples, be able to have them for later. Have somebody do a microscopic analysis on them, and looks squiggly, so it might be bear, but we'd be stupid to not collect them. That's for sure. So you guys have found more hair?
Yeah, so it's gonna be this.
Oh yeah, look at that. Good catch, bro.
Kind of bear-esque, but like super blonde.
Wow.
Huh? Super blonde.
I mean, it's so low that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Ow. Oh, look at that big, long black one. Okay.
So
yeah.
now this, I'm not going to say it really does, but I mean, it has a strong resemblance to what Damon found. Maybe this one's a little squigglier, but let me. I have a picture of what.
Ooh, look at that little tuft right there. You see that?
Yeah.
I don't even think I can catch it on the camera. This could be some indication as to this is probably a bear scratching post. You see this right here? Look right up here. See all the scratches?
Yeah.
Here and right up here. This is all more than likely bear, but hey, I got like tons of little paper bags. Don't have to worry about sterilizing anything really. Shoot, where are my tweezers?
Well, if they're not DNA tested,
bro, come on.
If you're not DNA testing, I mean,
it doesn't matter. Yeah, it would have looked nicer. I have two in my freaking chest pack. I'm surprised I don't.
Yeah, I got one at the truck.
Oh. We'll do these guys at the bottom. This is this big clump. Look at that. You see it pretty well?
Yeah, that's great. It's a big old chunk.
Yep. Alright, I'm not going to seal that up, but we will label that Third Meadow #1. That's going to be this guy's designation. I'm going to kind of keep them together.
So those long black ones are the most suspect looking to me. It has a lot of similarities with the ones Damon found.
So I'm picking it up now. Really wedged in the tree. Got it in there. I mean, it almost looks like my hair. It's kind of weird.
You didn't get your beard caught in the tree, did you? It's stuck in.
I know there was another one, I just lost it. maybe there wasn't. There's some more up here. These are whitish looking ones. Can you see that with your camera?
Let me see if I can see it with yours.
Can you see it with yours?
Not really. My camera doesn't focus on anything because my lens side.
Okay. All right. Well, they're in there.
All right.
It's okay. Sample number 2 documented. All right. I'm just gonna put all these guys in their own bag, just because we're gonna have a few samples. So we'll just put laird meadow on there. All right.
Samples. So
well,
we got like a couple.
We got 3. We got from 1, 2, 3 different trees. What looks like bear there, but we have some dark brown, almost black long hairs. We have a pretty good clump of blondish looking hair, and
we
got
have those white hair.
all the white hairs from right here. So this is probably bear, given the damage, but hey, it's worth collecting it, and at least we have it.
This is the learning process. That's what we did last time. Just pull hairs that all look different, and what do you know? One of them was the real deal.
So the other meadow we were in is there. Now we're crossing to the other side of laird meadow. They got a bat box over here, huh?
So Ron and Tate were out here a couple days before we were, and they noticed these suspicious.
This was last year?
This is 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
And they noticed some suspicious branch breaks. Now, I mean, use your critical thinking skills. There might be a plausible explanation for that, but it's just something that looked interesting to them, and we all kind of went over it and gave our best theories over what could do that. And then this one up here is very strange, because that was a fresh break when we were here. So
also 2 years ago?
Also 2 years ago, yeah. It was fresh, so it's kind of nice to look at now that it's all worn down to see the difference. But yeah, it was fresh when we were here. Could it have been a baby cub, or I don't know, somehow an elk breaking it, but it just looks weird. And that's where Damon kind of walked up and reached up to this level up here. He pulls off this black hair and starts showing it to us. And that was it. Ron collected a bunch of hair off of several trees, including this one, but the one that was the how did he put it, the golden ticket,
Fehrenbach golden standard.
Yeah, Damon says it was the golden ticket, and he grabbed it from right up here, brought it down.
Well, you guys heard something out here last year?
2 years ago. This is that same time, right after they found the hair. That's what made us kind of decide to come here, do a night investigation, right? Yep. And we got split up into teams of 2. We were spread out over like a mile long, and Glenn and I were partners, the goats. And Glenn was right here, and I was right here. And as you can see, if you lay in this, you can kind of take cover. And this is the way we were. And from time to time, we'd pop up, look around, or anytime we hear something, we were hoping that something would jump out of here or walk out of here. We can also see if something's walking across the road. We were the only people for a long ways away, and what triggered it? Base camp told the group to do a couple knocks. They did, and right back here. What'd you hear? You want to tell them how that sounded?
Well, I could explain. Yeah, so they called in the knocks. We waited a little bit, and then the knocks came through. We heard it, and so I just knew to hit my phone. I only had my phone at the time, so hit the phone and record as soon as the knocks were hit. And we sat around for a little bit, maybe a couple minutes, I want to say, that I remember. And sure enough, we started hearing something, and I think it sounded maybe from behind here or something, but pretty far back. Like I would, if I were to imagine, maybe like a hill over or something like that. It didn't sound close, but definitely something there. And so Jonathan and I just started whispering back and forth, like, did you hear that? And
yeah, it sounded like it came way off the mountain. The vocalization sounded like a big roar, but only the top end of it was captured. Now I took that, Glenn sent me the video, I sent it to Chris Spencer to see what he thought about it, and he beefed it up, looped it, and threw it on his spectrogram, went over it, and he said unless you had a large canine, it was probably what he calls the target species. You guys know who Chris Spencer is. very good with audio work, has a huge database. So for him to say that it had something, because here, I mean, we were able to rule out everything here. I've heard bears roar. It wasn't a bear. It wasn't a bark by a coyote or anything like that. It was pretty loud, very distant. And we heard little blips of it again, right? We kept hearing it.
Yeah, so it was more than one vocalization. And like I said, it wasn't like rumbling or anything like that, but it was definitely something you could hear at a distance. It felt like it was at a distance. So.
So this is where we're currently at is Onion Lake.
Yeah.
And so you had some stuff happen.
Yeah,
here?
so this is Onion Lake, and I remember the first time, it was my first time here at Bluff Creek, and went out with the guys for a night investigation. We're in different vehicles, everyone had their walkie-talkies and stuff, and I was riding with Rowdy Kelly. And so at one point we all came out here. It was about midnight or so. I remember the moon being really bright and full, and so there was some lighting here, and I don't remember our positions really because it was dark at that time, but I think we were all kind of sitting around in different positions around this area here, and we're all facing that way, and it wasn't as overgrown. I think you were able to maybe see the water more. And so we're just sitting there quietly, and who else was there? It was Robert Leiterman that I remember, and I believe there was 2 or 3 other people that I can't remember off the top of my head. And we're sitting there in the dark, and sure enough, I hear we all heard it. What sounded like a rock hitting a tree, and it was super loud. And I figured it was maybe one of the guys behind me or something. And we all sat there quietly after that for a little while longer, and we asked each other after all that, and no one claimed to have thrown that rock. And I tried asking Robert this time around about it, and he doesn't really remember. I gotta pick his brain maybe a little more for him to remember, but yeah, it was an interesting occurrence that happened here.
Jonathan, this is where a lot of stuff happened back in the 60s, right? Or 50s and 60s here at Onion Lake?
This was Rene Dahinden's favorite spot. So if you read anything by him and he starts talking about Onion Lake, he starts talking about it real nice because it's his favorite spot.
Yeah, so it's got a long history.
And Onion Mountain is right up the way here. And Onion Mountain, I don't know, I almost feel safe saying they must have pulled 1,000 prints over a few decades up there. It was Onion Mountain might have been maybe the more popular place to come investigate back then. It's where you see John Green found those prints, and it's what brought Roger and Bob down to Bluff Creek actually.
So what do we got here? We got the reason why this place has its name, wild onions. Look at that.
And they smell, it's like the best smelling onion. What do you think of the smell, Alex?
It smells good, dude. I'm gonna bite a little chunk right now. I mean, it tastes like an onion.
Yeah.
Mild. Like a green onion, spring onion. So the wild onion has this purple flower. Purple flower that grows on it.
Perfect.
I think we've got enough wild onions to last us a while. I think we got enough. So aside from onion, we've also got little wild strawberries. Food sources up here are plentiful. Look at that little guy, little tiny baby strawberry. Wow, that's delicious. Look at this little guy.
Since it was our final evening at Bluff Creek, we chose to return back to Laird Meadow after nightfall.
Okay, we're at Laird Meadow. It is about 12. It's about 12:36. What's the plan? What do we want to do?
Since we only have 2 radios, 3 people walk up the road, 3 people walk down the road. We can get down, maybe someone do a whoop or a call, but let it maybe just a quick on the radio before.
Yeah.
And then see if we generate something and just kind of walk back and
Yeah, sounds good.
like that.
Frequencies. All right, 3 up the road, 3 down the road.
Be safe, guys.
Okay.
Holler if you run into any problems.
Godspeed, John Glenn.
Yes. All right, take it easy.
We waited a while for each team to get settled into their spots, at which point Team 2 reported hearing some kind of vocalization.
We heard some other vocalizations, I think from your opposite direction.
Shortly after that, we had Kip do a long, drawn-out vocalization. About 10 minutes after he did the vocal, Jonathan and I both heard some kind of unusual, ongoing scream coming from up on the mountain behind us.
Hearing, dude. I can hear it like a singing. Like a singing. Dude, it sounds like. Just like Ron's recording. Yeah. Don't do it.
Unfortunately, the vocalization appeared to be too distant to be captured on audio, but we both heard it. So we had Kip do another loud vocal. Shortly after that, Team 2 came back to our position, and Jonathan and I once again began hearing the strange sound we heard a little while ago.
Still going. There it is again. Dude, it's the same thing again. It's up there, I'm telling you. It's so hard to hear though. But it's like you have every once in a while you hear. That's the same thing we heard earlier. It's so weird. Yeah. It sounds like a dude just going, whoa.
Alright, so Glenn's over there, but just to recap, I've been hanging out here for, at least, 2.5 hours, maybe? 3?
Yeah, just a tick over 2.5 according to my audio recorder.
Yeah. So we're hearing, some kind of knock type noises behind us. Heard a couple that were interesting. We did hear that deer snorting now, so that's very likely a lot of what we were hearing. But twice you and I heard that very distinct, very far off
Vocalization.
Oh.
It had this up and down, almost like up and down waves to it, like oh.
Yeah, the battery's exhausted. Great. Alright, so we're now up on the ridge in the direction of where we felt like we heard the vocalization. We're gonna hang around for a bit and see if there's anything going on.
After that second time hearing it, we did not hear it again, but stayed out for a few more hours and heard nothing else of intrigue. If only the audio could have heard what we did.
So yeah, we're it's our last morning here in Louse Camp. We're getting ready to actually leave now. Want to do a quick little recap. I think it's been a pretty fun and interesting week out here. But what did you guys think about last night? That was kind of an interesting night.
A lot of small snaps and pops, and then all of a sudden we started hearing some really, strong, knocking sounds from
Yeah,
around.
I've heard that a few times. Glenn and I both heard that.
And while they were compelling, it wasn't amazing. But what was amazing was hearing this extremely distant vocal.
Yeah.
And I thought
it was so distant that I thought it was just in my head, and then I started noticing that I was actually hearing it, and I looked at Aleks, and he's hearing it too.
And we looked at each other and we're like, what the? You know, we have it on video, obviously. It was just like this, happened after Kip did his call twice. This, like up and down vocal, 20, 30 seconds, I would say.
I almost heard it kind of like a sing-song type deal, like it was like up and down and up and down. And it was funny because I made this gesture to Aleks, and he kind of did this too, with the vocals are going up and down. Now the other group that was up there reported to us at one point, before we had heard the vocalizations, they reported,
similar.
We're hearing vocalizations. And Ian and Terry, you know, were the ones that heard it, I guess, but it kind of stopped. But when we met up, when the two groups met up, that's when they said, you know, yeah, we heard a vocalization, and I started to tell them what it was, and she started to tell me, well, this vocalization kind of went up and down.
Yeah.
She went like this with her hand, and Ian said, yeah, that's true. It kind of went up and down, and it was the same thing that we heard.
Yeah,
So
because we didn't know when they said they heard a vocalization, we didn't know what it was until afterwards. So it's not like they said what it was and it influenced what we heard. They happened independently, but it was a cool night. We also found those hares out there.
Yeah.
You found a bunch of them actually on there too.
Yeah, well, you kicked it off. You found a little something at first, and then we started looking around, and boom, we just started finding stuff all over the place. But going back out to the night you guys were hearing, we're all together, and I was hearing all types of other stuff too. I was at a little distance from them. So, but I didn't hear exactly what they heard at that time, but I was hearing all types of other things that they mentioned. But for me, going back a couple years, Jonathan and I were in the same area, and we're doing a night investigation there. And after some wood knocks that we had our group produced, we heard a similar thing in the same area, pretty much. And at about the same distance, I would imagine it sounds like they're describing the same sound that we heard that night. So I found that very interesting.
exactly, that's it. Different vocalization, same exact part of the mountain.
It's like it's up the ridge. We talked about it being up the ridge. I feel like it's further up that ridge. We were 3,700 feet, and this was 4,400 feet as soon as you get up the ridge a little bit. So then we went up the ridge last night. We heard some other movement, but nothing really definitive, and we didn't hear that same sound again. So what it was, I don't know. We can only speculate. Hopefully we'll be able to pick that up on the audio. But other than that, I think it was a pretty interesting week, and I'm glad we came out here. I'm sad we're leaving Louse Camp now, but that's just the nature of when a trip comes to an end, right?
That's it, man.
All right, cool.
Of the hair samples we collected, I sent 3 along for microscopic analysis. The results that came back were slightly unexpected, as we figured it was likely going to be bear, given the area. Sample 1 was domestic dog. Sample 2 was a beaver or something very similar, like a river otter. Sample 3 was apparently a plant fiber. This was not at all what we imagined, but as Jonathan mentioned earlier, it's all about the learning process, and getting any kind of conclusive results is better than no results at all. And just like that, another journey into the heart of Bigfoot Country comes to an end. The allure of this place remains intact after all these years, with strange activity year after year seemingly taking place. While much of this activity is subjective, some of the coincidental nature of the occurrences are enough to make one ponder what could be behind it. Perhaps someday soon, the dedicated groups like the Bluff Creek Project and individuals like Jonathan and Glenn and others who make the yearly trek to these wild lands might come closer to satisfying those questions we have about this mystery.